Sultan Mahmud II of Delhi is restored to power. An invaded Timurid Empire force defeats the Ottoman Sultan Bayezid I in the Battle of Ankara. The settlement of the Canary Islands signals the beginning of the Spanish Empire. A flood of the North Sea devastates parts of Flanders, Zeeland, and Holland. The Ming Dynasty fleet commander Zheng He sets sail from Zhuzhou to explore the world for the first time. John II becomes King of Castile. The Ming Dynasty of China under the Yongle Emperor conquers Vietnam, capturing Ho Qiu Lai. The Order of the Dragon is founded under Sigismund of Hungary. The Welsh surrender Harlech Castle to the English. Suleiman Celebi defeats his brother Musa Celebi outside Edirne and Constantinople. The first peace of Thorn is signed at Thorn in the monastic state of Teutonic Knights. Symburgus of Masovia marries Ernest, Duke of Austria. Henry V becomes King of England following the death of his father, Henry IV. Joanna II succeeds her brother Ladislaus as Queen of Naples. Portugal conquers the city of Ceuta from the Moors, initiating the Portuguese Empire and European expansion and colonialism. The Republic of Ragusa is the first state in Europe to outlaw slavery. An English fleet, led by the Earl of Huntingdon, defeats a fleet of Genoese carracks and captures their admiral, the Bastard Bourbon. The English siege of Rouen begins. The Oe invasion of Tsushima Island, Japan by Joseon, Korea begins. Beijing is officially designated the capital of the Ming Dynasty, whilst the Forbidden City, the seat of government, is concluded. Mehmed I, Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, dies and is succeeded by his son, Murad II. Henry VI became King of England, aged 9 months. Ottoman governor of Thessaly, Turakan Beg, breaks through the Hexamilian Wall and ravages the Peloponnese Peninsula in the Byzantine Ottoman Wars. The English defeat the French in the Battle of Verneuil. The old University of Leuven, Belgium, is founded. Hussites decisively beat the crusading armies of the Fourth Anti-Hussite Crusade in the Battle of Usti nad Laben. The Hussites decisively beat the Crusader armies, ending the Fourth Anti-Hussite Crusade in the Battle of Takov. Dan II leads an army against Ottomans in Gulabak fortress, obtaining a treaty that will allow him a semi-peaceful rule in Wallachia. Joan of Arc ends the siege of Orleans and turns the tide of the 100 Years' War. The French first attempt to relieve the siege of Compiègne. Joan of Arc is burnt at the stake in Rouen. Jan van Eyck's Ghent altarpiece is first presented to the public. Edward I becomes King of Portugal. Sara Jacob becomes Emperor of Ethiopia. Papal bull forbidding the enslavement of the Guanche natives in the Canary Islands by the Spanish is promulgated. French forces abandoned the siege of Calais. Malmö in Denmark, now Sweden, receives its current coat of arms. Pachacuti becomes ruler of the Kingdom of Cusco and begins its expansion into the Inca Empire. Venerable Macarius, Miracle of the Moose, according to the Russian hagiographers. Moctezuma I succeeds as Aztec ruler of Tenochtitlan. A revolt occurs in the nation of Mayapan, leading the Maya civilization to split into warring city-states. John Hunyadi defeats an army of the Ottoman Empire in the Battle of Hermannstadt. King Sejong the Great establishes Hangul as the native alphabet of the Korean language. The League of Leze, an alliance of Albanian principalities, is established in Leze. The Albanian forces under Skanderberg defeat the Ottoman forces in the Battle of Mokra. Sultan Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire is forced to abdicate in favor of Murad II. Pope Nicholas V succeeds Pope Eugene IV to become the 208th Pope. Hungarian forces under John Hunyadi are defeated by the Turks in the Battle of Kosovo. The Oirat Mongols defeat the Ming Dynasty army and capture the Zhengtong Emperor of China at the Battle of Tumu Fortress. Kentishmen under Jack Cade revolt against King Henry VI of England. The French capture Bayonne, the last English stronghold in Guyenne. Frederick III, Holy Roman Emperor, becomes the last to be crowned in Rome. The capital of the Byzantine Empire, Constantinople, was captured by the Ottoman Empire. The 13 Years' War began between the Prussian Confederation, allied with Poland, against the Teutonic Order. The Wars of the Roses, a series of civil wars fought over control of the English throne, begins between the houses Lancaster and York. The siege of Belgrade halts the Ottomans' advance under Mehmed II into Europe. King James II of Scotland decrees that ye football and ye golf be utterly quite done and not used, the first historical mention of the game of golf. Matthias Corvinus becomes King of Hungary at age 14. In the War of the Roses, Yorkists under Richard Neville, 5th Earl of Salisbury, defeat a Lancastrian force at the Battle of Blore Heath. King Christian I of Denmark issues the Treaty of Ribe, enabling himself to become the Count of Holstein. Stephen Tomasevic becomes the last king of Bosnia. Vlad III Dracula attempts to assassinate Mehmed II in a night attack. The French poet Francois Villon receives a reprieve from death by hanging and is banished from Paris. Edward IV of England secretly marries Elizabeth Woodville and keeps the marriage secret for 5 months afterwards. Charles VIII of Sweden is deposed. Louis XI of France introduces silk weaving to Lyon. The Onan War, which initiates the Sengoku period, begins. Catherine Cornaro is married by proxy to James II of Cyprus, beginning the Venetian conquest of Cyprus. Caister Castle in England is besieged by John de Mowbray of Norfolk. Stephen the Great defeats Volga Tatars of the Golden Horde led by Ahmad Khan in the Battle of Lipnik. King Afonso V of Portugal conquers the Moroccan town of Argila. Orkney and Shetland are returned by Norway to Scotland as a result of a defaulted dowry payment. Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II defeats the White Sheep Turkmens led by Uzun Hazan with the Battle of Otlakbeli. By signing the Treaty of London, Charles the Bold agrees to support Edward IV of England's planned invasion of France. The Treaty of Picquigny ends a brief war between France and England. The Battle of Toro is militarily inconclusive between the Castilian forces of Aragon and Portugal. The Volcano Badabanga erupts with a VEI of 6. Novgorod surrenders to Ivan III, Grand Prince of Moscow. Matthias Corvinus of Hungary defeated the Turks with the Battle of Bredfield. Co-rulers Ferdinand II and Isabella I initiate the Spanish Inquisition. Fire destroys the roof and the spires of Reims Cathedral. Portuguese navigator Diego Cao becomes the first European to enter the Congo. John of Denmark is crowned King of Norway. The first known book printed by a woman, Anna Rugarin, is an edition of Eek of Repko's Compendium of Customary Law. Henry VII defeats Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth and becomes King of England. King Henry VII of England and Elizabeth of York are married, uniting the houses Lancaster and York after the War of the Roses. Albert IV, Duke of Bavaria, regulates 3 ingredients for the brewing of beer: water, malt, and hops. Bartolomeu Dias of Portugal lands in Mossel Bay after rounding the Cape of Good Hope at the tip of Africa. King James IV grants Andrew Lord Grey lands of barony of Lundy in Scotland. The first edition of the chivalric romance Durant le Blanche by Joannet Martorell, printed in Valencia. The war between the Ottoman Empire and the Egyptian Mamluks ends. Christopher Columbus landed in the Americas from Spain. Maximilian I succeeds his father Frederick III as Holy Roman Emperor. Luca Pacioli publishes the first work on accounting. An explosion at Viborg Castle deters the Russian forces who invaded Sweden through Karelia. Jesus College, Cambridge is founded. Vasco da Gama's fleet departs from Lisbon, beginning his expedition to India. John Cabot leaves Bristol on an expedition, never to be seen again. Michelangelo's Pieta in St. Peter's Basilica is made in Rome. Portuguese navigator Pedro Alvarez Cabral officially discovers Brazil.